Hello and welcome back to Cuppa Quest, the channel in which we collect and play our games. And today I'm going to share with you my collection of PlayStation 5 games. So the PlayStation 5 came out in 2020 at the end of COVID, and in my opinion, both Sony and Microsoft were kind of like looking at each other and seeing who was going to jump the gun first, and like they both were like, oh well, you know, if one of them's releasing, we have to have ours out. And if I'm honest, I kind of feel like both of them were kind of rushed to market. Obviously this PlayStation 5 was short supplied, it was scalped for about a year or so. But I genuinely do believe that games really started coming for the console. There wasn't really many must-have games on the console until maybe 2 or 3 years into the lifespan, which is kind of bad. I'm going to be perfectly honest, I don't really bother with AAA gaming much. I kind of got the PlayStation 5 in a dark period of my life, and I had actually intention of collecting PlayStation 5, but what I ended up doing was buying a lot of PlayStation 4 games that I just missed out on. Another thing for me as well, especially with collecting, is that if a game's going to sit on my shelf, I'm not going to pay £70 for it. Simple as that. £60–70 seems to be the going rate for a brand new PlayStation game. I'm not going to do that, especially, and I mean especially, when that same game is going to drop down to half its price in 2 years' time. Simple as that. I know I can buy a lot of Switch games, but Switch games are either cheap anyway or they don't drop in price. Nintendo first party stuff rarely drops in price, whereas PlayStation stuff historically is cheap. You can go out and buy most of the PlayStation 4 essential titles for £100. Simple as that. Not so much Nintendo Switch. Breath of the Wild's still a full price game. And this is one of the things, is that I'm kind of like, if I don't really want to play a game immediately, and I don't really have any PlayStation games series that I kind of feel I need to play it immediately, I'm just going to wait. Simple as that. I'm just going to wait. Or if I do buy it, I will trade it in. For example, I have played both Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man 2, but I bought them, traded them in, because I think I got pretty much back what I paid for them, because I got them on deals and CX was going to give them good trading. I might go back and pick them up later down the line when they're about 10 quid each, but at this point I don't think I need to have them in the collection. Another thing as well is that I genuinely just prefer playing on the Nintendo Switch compared to PlayStation 5. I'm not a huge fan of the controller. I find the controller somewhat uncomfortable. I don't find it as comfortable as the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, but the big thing is that the Switch is handheld. Simple as that. For the games that I am playing, because I don't play, you know, your Call of Duties, your FIFAs, your Assassin's Creeds, most of the games, if they're coming out on the Switch and they're a comparable port, I'll just get it on the Switch. At the end of the day, I'm more than happy to have a little bit of graphics degradation compared to kind of having the ability to play it in bed, downstairs, on holiday. PlayStation 5 doesn't have that, unless you buy an expensive edition. But yeah, that's just the way I am. I'm more than happy to play games on handheld, and I will focus on a game that's a handheld game more than something that's very restrictive on one particular TV. But I've chatted enough. Let me know what you guys think of the PlayStation 5 as a console on a whole. The first game we're going to talk about is the game that kind of hooked me into buying a PlayStation 5. There was another one as well, which we'll get to in a minute, because that's kind of related to a few of us. But that title is Piece Odyssey. And then they released it on the Nintendo Switch a few months later. That's kind of the thing. It's yeah. Now this was available on the PlayStation 4, but I was like, if I'm buying a PlayStation 5, I was like, I'm going to get on the PlayStation 5. And yeah, this is a pretty decent turn-based JRPG of the One Piece franchise. Now, I am absolutely a huge fan of One Piece as a whole, so it makes sense to pick up the latest One Piece games. One Piece games have been fairly hit and miss in my opinion. I do love the Pirate Warriors franchise, and I love the old, like the Gigant Battle on the DS. And I actually enjoyed Unlimited Cruise on the Nintendo Wii. But for the last few years, One Piece kind of titles have been kind of okay, and this is kind of the same. It's okay. It's, if you want a turn-based JRPG, you can do a lot better. But if you want one that's related to One Piece, yeah, this is probably going to be your best one. It's a fun enough title that kind of does outstay its welcome quite a bit. It's got quite a lot of filler stuff in, and the arcs it covers, I think it covers like 4 or 5 main arcs in the series, and that's not including some of the most recent arcs as well, which, yeah, it's a little bit of an annoyance, but it's nice to play as all of the cast. It's nice to have them as a turn-based RPG title, but yeah, it is one that kind of outstayed its welcome very quickly by bumping up a lot of the stuff as genuine filler. The next one is one that I got with the PlayStation 5. It came in a bundle, and it was my first platinum on the console, and honestly it's probably one of my favourite games I played on the console. Of course I played this on PC first, and that is PowerWash Simulator. Now, yeah, this is going to be one of those titles where people are just like, oh, you know, it's a silly title, and yeah, it's a silly title. It's one of those things, but there's something so satisfying about just going around and cleaning up everything on the map. It's such a satisfying game. It's just a really nice, charming game. You can sit and you can set down, you know, an hour, 2 hours. You can, because the way my setup is that my PlayStation TV is there and my monitor is there for my PC. So what I was doing, I was setting something up. I was putting like a stream on in the background, and I was just chilling out. It was a really nice way to relax on a night and have a good time. Like I said, you're just a guy power washing things, cleaning things, making things clean again. There's not much to it, but it's a really addicting game, and I had a really good time with it. I really enjoyed it, and it helped me get through a pretty bad patch in my life. Next up is, I think, the only first-party PlayStation title that I actually still own, and that title is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, I enjoyed Ratchet and Clank back in the day. I enjoyed the first one on, I think it was the PlayStation 2. I never really played much since then, but I did play the fourth one, the PlayStation 4 one, a few years ago, and I really had a good time with it. And this one was actually the one that I wanted to play the most when it came to first-party PlayStation titles, but I just never picked it up. The reason being is that it was super cheap, but then all of a sudden the prices started jumping up, and I was just like, yeah, I've seen this for like £10–15, I'm not paying £40 for it. I'm going to wait for a price drop, and the price drop just kind of never happened. And then I wandered into Cash Converters one day and they had it for 10 quid. Yeah, I'm going to pick that up. I haven't had a chance to go on it yet, but it is one of the next titles I intend to go through and complete. Now, if you guys are aware of what I pick up for my Nintendo Switch, I am a huge fan of JRPGs, and the PlayStation 5 has had a fair few amount. A lot of them are kind of comparable with the Nintendo Switch, but there is a franchise that I kind of feel that shines a little bit better on the PlayStation 5 console, and that is the Trails of series. So I have Trails into Reverie, I have Trails through Daybreak, and I have Trails through Daybreak 2. Now, I haven't played this one, but I have played these ones. Trails games are about 100 hours long for each playthrough, so it's one of those ones where you kind of have to work it right and play it at a time when you kind of don't have anything else to play. So I've got this one, but I also have the Switch version of Trails in the Sky as well. So yeah, I'm 2 Trails games behind, and this isn't the only franchise that I'll talk about and say the same thing, because there's another franchise coming up very shortly. But yeah, but honestly, these are the gold standard of JRPGs in my opinion. Switch has Xenoblade, PlayStation, the gold standard is literally the Trails franchise now. It is. It's one of those ones. I mean, this is like, I think like this is like games like 9, 10 and 11. So yeah, we are significantly in, and while the story doesn't necessarily, the story does continue, but obviously it is all a big connected world. You kind of, to play Reverie, you need to go through the whole Trails of Cold Steel 1 to 4, and it helps if you played like the first 3 games, and well, the first 5 games. So yeah, it's one of those ones. The more you play it, the more rewarding it is. The combat system has always been fantastic. The characters are absolutely great, and it just takes you back to that good old day of JRPGs knowing what they wanted to be and being a proper great experience. Speaking of great JRPG experiences, we've also got Romance and SaGa 2, another one that is also on the Nintendo Switch but works so much better on the PlayStation 5. And this one, I'm going to say now, this is going to be a hidden gem. This was released by Square Enix, and it has been, for me, this was the big push into the Romance and SaGa franchise. Romance and SaGa 2 has you defending your empire over successive generations, you expand your realm, and defeat the vengeful 7 heroes one by one to save the world. What I loved about this one is that there's kind of like a hierarchy, a lineage, we would say, thing in here. So basically there's like time skips throughout the game, so obviously your character will die, but then you play as their child, or you play as like the great grandchild, and you get like different types of characters. So you got, obviously you've got the king, but then you've got like the mercenary, and then you've got like the sages and the priests and the pirates and the gladiators, and then you've got like lizard men and automatons and all these different types of characters. And what I love about this is that you get to play as them all. Now, it's one that I had a really good time with, and honestly, if you come away with anything and you like JRPGs, this needs to be on your list to pick up. Absolutely fantastic title. I know the Switch 1 has had a little bit more improvements with a Switch 2 port, so yeah, it's probably worth picking up on either console at this point, but yeah, this one is an absolutely fantastic title. I really recommend you guys check out. Next up is Eiyuden Chronicle's 100 Heroes, and yeah, I'm going to be honest, I haven't had a chance to properly sink my teeth into this. I backed this on Kickstarter way back when for the Nintendo Switch. However, they dragged their feet in actually releasing it, and yeah, I really wanted to play it, so I bought it on the PlayStation 5, which turned out to be a kind of a good thing because the Switch version ended up being not great. But yeah, this is basically a spiritual successor to the Suikoden franchise. Suikoden 2 is still my favourite JRPG of all time. And yeah, this makes an attempt at it. Sadly, since then we have had reissues, remasters of the Suikoden franchise, so of course you're going to pick them over it. But yeah, it is a franchise that I love, and I am looking forward to at least trying this. It's another one, it's about 100 hours long. I'm not going to prioritise this over, say, Trails or something else that's going to be similar length, especially when it's kind of mixed, but I am looking forward to at least giving it a try. Next up is a PlayStation 4 game which I actually did pick up the Director's Cut version of, so I upgraded to PlayStation 5. That title is Death Stranding, and this is probably the most unique game I have played recently. Of course, we've had stuff like Balatro and stuff like that, but yeah, this is basically you're playing as Amazon delivery guy in a post-apocalyptic world, and yeah, there's these little aliens, monsters, weird things that come whenever it rains and try to take you away. I'm going to be honest, I have literally just finished this game, and I'm more or less wrapping things up to get the platinum, and I enjoyed it. It's not very considerate of your time. There was a lot of cutscenes, and I'm going to be honest, anytime the actual plot started rearing its head, I just checked out. There's cutscenes there where they're an hour long to tell you something that you could be told in maybe 5 minutes. But the actual delivery stuff and traversal of the map is absolutely fantastic. Maybe just pick up Euro Truck though. We don't have Euro Truck on PlayStation, this is the next best thing. I really enjoyed it. Pecora from Hololive, I don't know where she is, she's behind us. She's in the second one, and that's the big reason I picked this one up. Brand new is about £14 on Amazon, plus there's a £5 update. CX Pre-Owned has it also about £15, so might as well just buy it brand new. A very unique game, but it's very much one that I kind of see you're either going to love it or you're not going to enjoy it. Next up is Resident Evil 2, and this also has a PlayStation 5 update. I'm going to be honest, I played Resident Evil on the GameCube back in the day, and I like it. I then went on to Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube, and that is easily one of my favourites. I also played 5 and 6, which are kind of, they were okay. They were kind of Capcom trying to do something different with the franchise, and it didn't work. But I've never played Resident Evil 2. This was £10 at Christmas, and yeah, I bought it and just haven't opened it. It's got an upgrade to the PlayStation 5. I bought it as a PlayStation 5 game because it was cheaper to buy a PlayStation 4 and do the upgrade than it was to buy the PlayStation 5 version. I haven't played it. I look forward to someday doing so. It's a short game, isn't it? So next up is another franchise which I have absolutely loved, and I've recently played through one of these a few weeks ago, and it's been, this franchise is basically encompassing. This is basically the highlight of my PlayStation 5 experience, and it's Yakuza, or it's Like a Dragon. So Like a Dragon, I started on PlayStation 4 at the beginning of last year, and then I got the PlayStation 5, and then there was an upgrade, and it didn't carry over my save, but I was only like 5 hours in, so I then went through and replayed the whole thing, and loved it. And I just recently finished Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on the PlayStation 5. This was actually one, again, this is what I got as a launch with my console, and it was one of the big ones I wanted. But then I was kind of just like, I think I was that burnt out after like 7. Not a bad game, but just burnt out. I just didn't want to immediately jump onto another Yakuza. These are great games. These are absolutely fantastic games, and these are, this is fantastic. They really are. I mean, this is Like a Dragon 7 and Like a Dragon 8. These changes the combat from like the more action-based that we've seen in previous ones into a turn-based JRPG, but it's so over the top as well. Ichiban is an absolutely fantastic protagonist, but we've got like kind of like, again, this is like real world, so this is kind of expanded on what we had in Earthbound all those years ago with obviously the Yakuza, but like we've got a job system. It's like there's a Dragon Quest job system. The main protagonist fancies himself as a hero, so he gets like the legendary baseball bat, and all the other protagonists have like RPG mechanic characters as well. I absolutely adored my time with these ones. These are both my favourite. Yakuza's Evil was great as well, but these are my favourite in the Yakuza franchise, and I've just had a fantastic experience with them. These have been my shining example of the PlayStation 5 era, and honestly, I can't wait for more. Haven't picked up Pirate Yakuza, I know that goes back to the action-based one, but I also have this one as well, Like a Dragon Ishin. This has got the PlayStation 5 upgrade, so yeah, I own all of them apart from Pirate Yakuza now, and the zombie one. So when I picked up my PlayStation 5, I had full intention of collecting a lot of games, and I did start buying a bunch of PlayStation 4 titles. But one of the titles that I picked up that I fully intended to buy the rest of was Atelier Ryza 3. I haven't played it. Atelier Ryza is one of those titles that has been really beloved by a lot of people. And Atelier 1 and 2 got kind of rare. And they still are fairly rare, and I've just never seen them. I'm honestly at the point I've seen them a few times in CXs for the Nintendo Switch, so I might actually just buy them on the Nintendo Switch. But I'm honest, this was cheap. This was like 10, 15 quid at the time. It's sealed. It can happily sit on my shelf. I don't mind buying games for 10, 15 quid and have them sit on the shelf. It's when I'm buying games for £70 and they're sitting on a shelf. That's the problem. See also Tales of Arise. The Tales of series is a bit of hit and miss for me. I've really enjoyed Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube, and I enjoyed Tales of Grace's F, which I actually just recently rebought on the Nintendo Switch. And overall, Trails has been kind of hit and miss. I wasn't a fan of Zillia, and then Zestria I think came out for the PlayStation 4. Really didn't like that one. And then Berseria came out, and that was a little bit better, but I wasn't, again, a fan. And yeah, I picked this one up. I was just like, oh, well, I want some PlayStation 5 exclusives. Pick up Tales of Arise. Haven't played it. I've heard this is a bit of a return to form for the Tales of series, and that remains to be seen. But I'm not sure if it's just a franchise that I'm happy just leaving in the past. But then again, I picked up Tales of Graces. I've picked up Tales of Symphonia. I'm happy to have this one. Again, it was another cheap one. Happy to be sitting in the collection. I'll get to it eventually. So not so long ago, I did a video on obscure So not so long ago I did a video on great Nintendo Switch games to pick up for titles that are £20 or under, and there was a title that I mentioned and I was just like, oh, this is getting a little bit expensive, but it's super cheap on the PlayStation 5. It's Arcade Paradise. Now, as I mentioned previously, this basically has you in charge of an arcade. You start off in a laundromat, you're doing like obviously your laundry, people's laundry, collecting the coins, but in the back room there are some arcade machines, and these are arcade machines that's their own spin on some classic arcade games. As the series goes on, you kind of get more and more arcade machines. It starts becoming more bigger and bigger compared to the laundromat. And yeah, it's a really good one. I actually went back and did the platinum on this one. I enjoyed my time with it so much on the Nintendo Switch. I went back, I played it on this, I beat it 100%. And that's going to be something I have mentioned a few times. I don't mind rebuying a game if it's genuinely good and I'm going to replay it. I don't mind that at all. But yeah, this was a really good treat and definitely one worth picking up. I think this is like under £10 on the PlayStation 5. The Switch version is getting expensive. But yeah, definitely check this one out if you love arcade games. Next up is Persona 5 Tactica. I'm going to be honest, I played a little bit of Persona 4 on the PlayStation 4. And yeah, again, another 100-hour game. And this one, I don't feel like Persona really respects your time. There's a lot of kind of do calendar stuff, socialise and do nothing until something happens, and I'm going to be honest, I genuinely just do not like the calendar system in Persona games. It really puts me off. But you know what, I fancied another tactics game and this was $11.99. I bought it from Game one day. Never played it. Still sealed. Well, game sealed anyway, you know. But yeah, maybe once I actually play Persona 5 Royale, I'll go back to this one. But again, it's another one. For collection purposes, I'm happy to have it on the shelf. Again, cheap title. Next up is again another cheap title, and that is Lost Judgment. So this is by the same people who did the Yakuza franchise, and I'm just waxed lyric about that franchise. And yeah, I picked it up and not realising this is actually the second one. There's another one called Judgment, which I have yet to see. To buy, so I'm looking out for that. But yeah, I picked this one up again. This was another one. I think when I first bought the PlayStation 5, I was that excited. I just bought a bunch of titles that I just kind of didn't really have much intention of playing. But yeah, this is another one where it's like, it's on my shelf. I'll get to it eventually. Because I'm only buying like maybe 2 or 3 PlayStation 5 games a year at this point, there's probably a good chance I'm going to get to this as soon as I find the first one. Next up is, this is a title that I bought on PlayStation 5, never played it, and then re-bought on the Nintendo Switch because it was a launch Switch title. And yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. And what can I say about it? I can't really see much about the PlayStation 5 version, but I had a good time with the Switch version. I kind of got to a certain point and I kind of stopped playing and just never went back to it. It took a while for the game to really grip me, and I kind of wonder if I was playing the Cyberpunk version for the PlayStation 5 because I had trophies to kind of push me on. I might have pushed through a little bit more, but I had a good time with the Switch version, and this is the PlayStation 5 version of it. Still sealed. It's nice to have a nice little sealed collection of games, I suppose. But yeah, this is a great game. This is a really good game in general. I know it's really highly praised and stuff like that. I think no matter which one you get on, PlayStation 5, Switch 2, Xbox, what have you, you're going to have a good time. Just, yeah, fun time all around. Now this next title was definitely a title I got with the console, and that is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And I've played the episode 1 of this, and it's a LEGO game. But again, this is a LEGO game that's been bumped up to like nearly 100 hours. What I loved about LEGO games is that they were perfect palate cleansers. They were titles that you would pick up and you would be, you know, it's like, to like 20 hours to get a platinum on it and you can get through the whole thing and it's really easy. Yeah, but once you expand that to 100 hours, especially for a franchise that I don't really adore, it's kind of one that this is more of a commitment. If I'm going to play a 100-hour game, I'm going to play Persona, I'm going to play Trails of, I'm going to play a Yakuza. I'm probably not going to play a LEGO game. But yeah, this came with the console along with PowerWash Simulator. I've had a go on it. It's fine. And We're now going to go on to another title that I bought on the PlayStation 5 because it was cheap. I played it on the Nintendo Switch, and it's Tactics Ogre Reborn. I'm going to be honest, this one was a weird one because I was kind of like, oh, it was cheap, and I kind of was like, this is going to be expensive eventually. But if I'm honest, Tactics games just work better on a handheld console. Simple as that. You mean, you kind of got your grid-based system. Yeah, they're fine on the big screen, but at the end of the day, being able to sit and sink, you know, 10-15 minutes into a grid-based battle system. I think it's also the fact that obviously a lot of the greats, you know, like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance was on the handheld, Fire Emblem was on the handheld, Advance was on the handheld, Onimusha Tactics was on the handheld. This was also a handheld PSP game. Yeah, like I said, it was one I just bought on a whim. It was cheap, so I've got it in the collection. A nice sealed collection. And finally, we've got a franchise that, I'm going to be honest, I don't nearly have the love for it as I used to. And that is Final Fantasy. We've got Final Fantasy 7 Remake Integrate, and we've got Final Fantasy 16. I'm going to be honest, I haven't played any of these yet. Again, I don't know why, there's never got round to them. Final Fantasy 16 got a massive price drop, like immense price drop. I got this and I got Spider-Man 2 last year for like 30 quid for both of them, and I then beat Spider-Man 2 and sold it and got 30 quid back, so I basically have this for free. But I'm like, you know what, a game like this I can have sitting on the shelf for as long as I want. Final Fantasy 7, I don't have the attachment to the original one. I've played the original one twice and I like it. It's just it's not even my favourite Final Fantasy on the PlayStation, never mind my favourite JRPG on the PlayStation. But if I'm honest, I'm kind of waiting for the full thing to be released. I really don't like the fact that they split this game into three. Of course, it's been a few years since this one, but again, I don't know, it's just kind of like, I'll get to it eventually, because they announced the Switch 2 version of it, and I'm just like, I'd rather play it on the Switch 2. I kind of held off playing it, and then it turns out it's going to be a game key card, so I'm like, well, why would I re-buy the Switch 2 one when I've got this one? I sometimes actually forget I got it as well, to be honest, but yeah. I'm going to be honest, Final Fantasy, I love Final Fantasy 1 to 6, I love Final Fantasy 9, I love Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2, 12's fine, I love the Tactics ones. Final Fantasy as a franchise has been very hit and miss, but I'm happy to try these games. Try them, because I'm going to be honest, I've got another one. Another one sealed, Final Fantasy 15. Again, I'm going to be honest, I'm starting to notice a trend of I'm buying sealed JRPGs and keeping them sealed, and I'm just like, oh well, I'll buy it now and I'll get to it eventually, and yeah, I'm not getting to these games, am I? I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what my PlayStation 5 collection is. So a lot of the games I've bought, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man 2, bought, then resold on because I would get full price back for them. Waiting for the big titles to drop in price. But then I'm also looking and I'm just like, I bought this, it was cheap, I've got on my shelf. I bought this, it's still sealed. I bought this, but a Switch 2 version came out. Can you see why I'm not really talking about PlayStation 5 much in my videos? It's kind of in a weird position because it's like everything that's on there is either a PlayStation 4 game or it's available on another console or on PC. I do have a gaming PC, so... And while I have enjoyed my time with the games, there's only one game that really stood out, and that was Astro's Playroom. The free game. Everything else has been like, oh yeah, this is a Switch game. Oh yeah, I enjoyed this. Oh yeah, this is still sealed. And I'm kind of a little bit embarrassed because if I'm honest, I'm not going to prioritise playing Final Fantasy 16. I'm not going to prioritise playing Final Fantasy 7. Am I going to play Lost Judgment? I'm waiting for the first one. Am I going to play Persona Tactica? No. It's a collection I've got, but I don't really have much attachment for. And it kind of makes me realise this is my genuine outlook on AAA gaming. I don't have much time for these games. Oh yes, I might pick these games up, but then it's like, oh well, I'm happy playing, you know, the next Dragon Quest game on the Switch. Oh, I picked up Binding of Isaac on the Nintendo Switch. Oh well, I can spend an hour on that just sitting in bed, lying in bed. I've got to set the console up for PlayStation. And I feel like all of the games I got aren't like quick hitters as well. Like they're not like games I can just go, oh, I just fancy playing this for an hour. No, they're all like 100-hour games, or the big in-depth games. And I'm gonna be honest, I just don't have any attachment to this. I could probably sell my PlayStation 5 and all of the games and not look back. And it's kind of sad in some ways. I mean, and I think this is the problem as well. I'm more than happy to wait for games. I haven't picked up the new Astro Bot game. I haven't played Expedition. I haven't played Stellar Blade. Why? Well, I'm waiting for them to be dropped in price. PlayStation 4 games average about £10 to £15. I'm not paying 50 to 60. And I think once you kind of sit and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait for PlayStation 5 games, you pick them up and you play them. I enjoyed Death Stranding. It's a game I'm really happy I played, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about PlayStation 5. I don't have any attachment to most of this. Do I sell it? But then it's future-proof for me. I've got that as a PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 is now a Blu-ray player. Is there anything coming out that I want? Bits and pieces. Nothing I would really see I wanted to keep a console for. Maybe I sell. But then, do I want to be just a Switch player? I don't know. I really don't know.